He is standing chest deep in the coral sea, wearing a full-body lycra suit, holding a bottle of household vinegar above his head like a torch. He has been out there for 40 minutes. He has not moved. The question is simple. Nature has spent 400 million years perfecting ways to kill things quickly. So what actually is the fastest acting toxin out there? And can one determined idiot get close enough to find out? By the end of this, you'll know the real answer. And it is not the animal you're thinking of. He does eventually meet the world's most toxic snake. It goes worse than that sounds, and also somehow better. But let's start where every bad idea starts. In a garden. Our test subject has a notebook. He has written fastest poisons at the top, underlined it twice, and drawn a small skull that looks like a potato. This is the entire scientific apparatus. He has also written the word poisons, which is already wrong. Poison is what happens when you touch or eat something. Venom is what happens when something injects you. Nearly every organism on his list is venomous, not poisonous. He will discover this in about 11 minutes and will not take it well. His plan, as far as anyone can tell, is to work up a ladder. Start with something mild, something safe, something he can survive, then escalate. Are you sure you want to do this?
It's a plant. I can handle a plant.
It's a plant. He is crouched in a patch of overgrown ground at the edge of a field, sleeves rolled to the elbow, staring at a stinging nettle like it owes him money. He has set a stopwatch on the grass beside him. He starts it. He presses his forearm into the leaves. The reaction takes under 2 seconds. Watch his face. There's a delay where nothing registers, then the eyebrows go up, then the arm goes down, then he stands up much faster than a man should stand up around a plant. Nettles work by mechanics, not chemistry alone. The hairs on the leaf are tiny, brittle glass needles that snap on contact and inject a cocktail including histamine, which is the same compound your own body throws at a bee sting. He is in effect being pre-stung by a vegetable. He writes in the notebook, 2 seconds. He circles it. He looks pleased. He is measuring the wrong thing. Speed of pain is not speed of toxin. Nettles are fast because they're irritants, and irritants are supposed to be fast. The whole point is to make a deer leave immediately. Nothing about a nettle is trying to stop a heart. He has begun his study of the deadliest substances on Earth by getting beaten up by a weed. He rubs his forearm. He looks at the red bumps rising. He turns the page. He has flown to Queensland. The escalation here is not subtle. He has gone from a hedgerow to the tropical waters of northern Australia during stinger season, which runs roughly from November through May, and which is the annual period where the ocean becomes actively hostile in a way most oceans have the decency not to be. He is at a beach, standing in front of a large yellow warning sign, reading it with the expression of a man doing accounting.
Why is it always Australia?
Because of the box jellyfish. Chironex fleckeri is the reason that sign exists. A jellyfish the size of a basketball, dragging up to 3 meters of tentacle behind it, effectively transparent, with venom that attacks the heart, the nervous system, and skin cells simultaneously. In severe stings, cardiovascular collapse can happen in minutes. Minutes, not hours. This is genuinely, unarguably, one of the fastest-acting venoms in the natural world. And it is floating around a beach where people bring inflatable flamingos. He rents a stinger suit. This is a real thing. A thin, full-body lycra layer that doesn't stop a jellyfish out of toughness, but out of trickery. Nematocysts, the stinging cells, fire on chemical and physical contact with skin. A layer of lycra means they never get the signal. Lifeguards wear pantyhose. It works. He wades in. He carries vinegar, which is standard first aid on that coast because acetic acid deactivates any stinging cells that haven't fired yet. He waits. He waits some more. He is now doing slow circles in waist-deep water like a man looking for his car keys, in a suit, holding condiments, hunting the world's most dangerous jellyfish on purpose, which is a sentence that should have stopped him at the drafting stage. He finds nothing. Box jellyfish are seasonal, weather-dependent, and vastly outnumbered by the general concept of empty water. After 90 minutes, he comes out, sits on the sand, and stares at the horizon.
This suit is not enough suit.
It was exactly enough suit. That's why he's alive to complain. If you think a grown man vinegar patrolling the coral sea was the low point, He has already booked the next flight, and the next one involves a frog the size of a bottle cap. He is at a zoo, specifically in front of a glass tank, nose almost touching it, looking at a golden poison frog, Philobats terribilis. The species name is Latin for exactly what you think, and it earned it. In the wild, a single one of these carries enough batrachotoxin on its skin to be lethal to multiple adult humans, absorbed through contact. Indigenous Embera hunters in Colombia have historically used them to tip blowgun darts. This is the animal that put the poison in poison dart frog, and it is currently sitting on a leaf, being roughly as menacing as a skittle. He has his palms pressed to the glass. He has his notebook out. He is waiting for something to happen.
It's just a frog.
It's just a frog. And here's the part that ruins his day. That specific frog is completely harmless. Captive-bred poison frogs are non-toxic. They don't make batrachotoxin themselves. They sequester alkaloids from the wild arthropods they eat, mites and beetles and ants, and concentrate it in glands on their skin. Feed them fruit flies and crickets in a temperature-controlled enclosure, and you get a beautiful, brightly colored, entirely non-lethal amphibian. The tank isn't protecting him from the frog. The tank is protecting the frog from him. He absorbs this. He looks at the frog. The frog looks at him, in the sense that frogs look at anything. He writes something in the notebook. From the angle, it appears to be a very small, very defeated question mark. Most people would take that as a sign. He goes to the beach instead. He is walking a reef flat at low tide with a plastic tray, turning over shells. He is looking for cone snails, and this is the first genuinely dangerous thing he has done all week, because cone snails do not look dangerous. That's the problem. They look like the shell your aunt keeps in the bathroom. Conus geographus hunts fish by firing a hollow, harpoon-like modified tooth loaded with a cocktail of toxins that can shut down nerve signaling. And it does this to prey that were, moments earlier, swimming. There is no antivenom. Treatment is supportive care. You keep the patient breathing and wait it out. He finds one. He knows what it is. You can see the exact moment the recognition lands, because his hand stops about 8 inches above it and just stays there, hovering like he's warming himself on it. Correct.
I'm not touching that.
Genuinely, sincerely correct. Well done. He photographs it. He backs away from it. He backs away from a snail at walking speed, maintaining eye contact with a shell, and this is the most sensible he has looked in the entire project. He does the same thing an hour later with a blue-ringed octopus in a rock pool, which he identifies from the rings and immediately treats like a live grenade. Fair. Blue-ringed octopus venom contains tetrodotoxin, the same compound that makes pufferfish a gamble. There's no antivenom for that either. What keeps people alive is rescue breathing. The toxin paralyses the muscles you breathe with while leaving you fully conscious, so someone has to do your breathing for you until your body clears it. He sits on a rock and puts his head in his hands. He has now traveled roughly 9,000 miles to look at 4 of the deadliest animals alive and successfully touch none of them. He is standing at the edge of a Channel Country floodplain in central Queensland, in boots with a guide, looking for the Inland Taipan. By the standard laboratory metric, the LD50, the dose that kills half the test rodents in a controlled study, this snake has the most toxic venom of any snake on Earth. Not the most dangerous snake, the most toxic venom. Those are wildly different things, and the gap between them is where this entire video has been living. Because the Inland Taipan is shy, remote, active mostly in the early morning, and almost pathologically uninterested in humans. It lives in cracked clay plains that nobody visits. It eats rats. There is no confirmed record of it killing a person. It is the most venomous snake in the world, and its actual body count is a rounding error, kept there by antivenom and by the snake's own strong preference for being left alone. They find one at dawn. And here's the thing. For about 40 seconds, the joke stops. The guide gets low. The snake is dark-headed and unhurried, moving over the cracked ground with the specific fluid economy of an animal that has never once had to rush. Our test subject goes completely silent. He doesn't reach for the notebook. He doesn't reach for anything. He just watches this small, calm, unbothered animal that carries the most potent snake venom ever measured go about its morning, entirely uninterested in him. Then it's gone into a soil crack and he exhales like he's been holding it since Tuesday. He has been standing in that field for 4 hours now. Any regrets?
No.
He's lying. But not as much as usual. The last stop is an anti-venom facility, and this is where he finally gets his answer, because it turns out the people who actually measure this for a living are indoors, in gloves, being paid. He watches a handler milk a snake. The snake is pressed onto the rim of a covered vessel, the fangs hook over the edge, and the venom comes out in a few unremarkable amber drops. That's it. That's the substance. It gets freeze-dried into a pale powder that looks like nothing, like something you'd find at the bottom of a spice jar, and that powder is the raw material for the anti-venom that stops the snake from mattering. Carefully controlled doses are given to large animals, horses or sheep, which mount an immune response. Their antibodies are harvested and purified, and that becomes the thing sitting in a hospital fridge in cairns. And the real answer, the one he flew around the world for, is this. The fastest acting is almost certainly the box jellyfish, the thing he spent 90 minutes failing to find while holding vinegar. Severe envenomation can be lethal within minutes. Nothing else on his list does it faster in a human. But the fastest acting toxin and the most toxic toxin are not the same thing. And neither of them is the most dangerous thing, because dangerous is a math problem. Dangerous is toxicity times how often you meet at times whether there's a hospital nearby. By that math, the winner isn't the taipan or the frog or the snail. It's mosquitoes, which carry no venom at all and kill more people annually than every animal on his list, combined by an almost embarrassing margin. He writes that down. He stares at it.
So I flew here for nothing.
He is back in the garden. Same field, same nettles, same stopwatch on the grass. He does not touch them. He stands there with his arms folded, looking at the patch, having personally verified that the most toxic substances on the planet are almost all locked behind glass, seasonal, extinct in captivity, uninterested in him, or fully treatable by a man with a bottle of vinegar and a pair of tights. Nature is not actually trying to kill you. Nature is trying to eat a fish, discourage a deer, and be left alone, and you are simply large and in the way. Almost everything on his list evolved its horrifying chemistry for something the size of a shrimp. We just happen to be standing there. He picks up the stopwatch. He looks at the nettle one more time. He puts the stopwatch in his pocket and walks away, forearm still faintly red, 11 days and 4 countries later, having been meaningfully injured by exactly one organism.
I could have just read a book.
He could have just read a book.